Hi, my name is Dr. Alan Barnard. I'm CEO of Goldratt Research Labs and also past president of TOC ICO. It's a great honor and privilege to be the opening keynote for this TOC ICO virtual conference event this year with the theme of reaching the goal. The title of my keynote today is 10 Crucial Lessons from the Covid-19 Pandemic. What we can learn from this crisis to help us reach our goals, whether that's an individual goal or the goal for our organization or maybe even for our industry. One of the quotes that have most inspired me in terms of the work I do both individually as well as the work of my research lab is this quote by Jean-Baptiste Perrin. He said that the goal of all sciences is to substitute visible complexity for invisible simplicity. When we are trying to manage and improve and analyze organizations or systems at large, there's a tremendous amount of visible complexity. Can we find that invisible simplicity? I believe that theory of constraints provides key insights into that invisible simplicity. Since this is a theory of constraints conference, and I do know that many people that will be attending the conference might be new to theory of constraints, I will start my presentation with a brief overview of what theory of constraints is. This is my insights that I've gained over the last 30 years. I hope they will be useful. So let's start. What is theory of constraints, and specifically, why is it called a theory? It's a question I'm often asked, and I remind people of the quote of Dr. Kurt Lewin, one of the pioneers in social psychology. He said that there is nothing so practical as a good theory. Theory of constraints as a management theory is simply a good explanation about why constraints are very important and very useful, especially to those who have to make both reliable commitments as well as to make better, faster decisions when it really matters within managing these organizations. And there's specifically 5 types of decisions. I believe that knowledge of a constraint is not just useful, but really critical. The first decision is, how do we set ambitious but achievable goals? So I want you to imagine that you know that there's a constraint in the system. Maybe it's some machine or resource that if you had more of it, you could achieve more of the goal. And that you know as well that at the moment, this resource loses some time. From time to time, it's starved. It doesn't have raw materials to work on. From time to time, there's no space to put the products down that it's producing. It might lose some time because of unplanned maintenance or planned maintenance, or producing products that are not needed, overproduction, or maybe producing defective parts. Once I understand how big the gap is between the potential of the constraint and how much it's actually producing currently, and I know which of those conditions are avoidable that I could prevent, that gives me a very solid framework for determining how much I can achieve for the system as a whole. So knowing the constraint of the system and the potential for better exploitation provides me with a very practical framework of how much more I can achieve. It helps me to set both achievable but also ambitious targets. And that's true regardless of where that resource constraint of the system is, whether it's inside of the system, capacity of some resource, maybe it's on the supply side or the market side, or maybe even cash. The second decision is, we know that the scarcest resource for all of us is our limited attention. And especially that's true for management, the limited management attention. So where should management focus their limited attention on? It really helps to know where the constraint of that system is, to know where to focus. For example, in an online business today, it's a common known reality that the real constraint is consumer attention. How do I get the consumer's attention in this ocean of distractions? And I really should be focusing my management attention to figure out how to do that. That's where I